This is Holly. Holly's very, very fluffy. She likes to talk with her paws and her mouth, and this is Coco. And I love our animal companion friends. One of the reasons I love them so is when I was young, I went to my animal companions as a safe haven, as a place for true, deep, unconditional love. So my childhood self took great haven with companion animals, all of them, many, many of them. And to this day, they speak to my heart, and they speak to the quality in me that was scared to offer unconditional love. And I've been growing that quality ever since childhood. So today I'd like to work with the inner child. And this is my experience of working with my own inner child. I hope it's helpful. In my experience, in working with my inner child and giving her voice, at some point she chose to be in allegiance with my greater, more intuitive, present-day self. And that was important. She had to do the choosing to be in allegiance with a greater portion of me. In other words, my present-day self, I had tried to love her and soothe her from my present-day perspective, but she was still upset. By giving my inner child a voice, and by literally voicing her and expressing all the hurt she felt when she was younger, by giving her voice, by giving her a safe space, by giving her a haven where at last she can step forth into our world, then she, at some point, looked at my adult self and said, I want to be in allegiance with her. At last, I'm safe. I hope this makes sense because it's been a profound healing quality in my own practice. Now, we're going to go through an example of giving the inner child voice, all right, and what that sounds like, what that looks like, what that feels like. For instance, this comes from the childhood self. It was not fair that when I was young, I was abused. That really, really hurt. I was so confused. I felt boxed into a corner. I didn't know where to turn. And I even felt shame at this abuse. And at times, I even felt guilty. Like I was the one that was unworthy, that I was deserving of that abuse. It was so confusing for me. It hurt so much. I can't even believe it happened, but it did happen. So that's an example, a brief example of giving the inner child voice, a potent voice, expressing him or her, letting it come out in a safe space, right? This is the kind of work I've done. Let it come out in a safe space, give her voice. And in the giving of the voice, there was huge relief. It was like a melting that at last, she could express herself. And when she started to express herself and quiet and melt and come to ease, then she said, I actually feel safe. And I feel safe with the adult version, with this wise version of myself, this wise Karuna. At last, I feel safe with her. And she's the one that then peered out from behind the corner and gazed upon the adult self and said, yes, I will choose now at last, to be in allegiance with this wise one on this journey. I will choose to be in allegiance with her. And sometimes she goes back behind the corner and sometimes she looks around again. But once I gave her voice, things shifted. And she reached out her hand and said, at last, I will embrace an older one. At last, I will embrace an adult. At last, I will embrace someone with whom I know I am truly, truly safe and at ease. I can express myself and I just get to be. Such a healing experience. The weaving of myself together, these expressions of myself together. And all the yammering started to quiet. And my inner girl, my little girl is here. with the wiser part of me. And there are times, certainly, when I recognize that she's upset, I give her voice again. And I let her look and gaze. Is it safe to hold the hand of the adult me, the person I am today? Inevitably, the answer is yes. There's a few dances, a few skips, a few questions, but inevitably the answer is now yes. This comes from my heart. It's a deeply personal experience in working with my inner child and giving her voice. I hope it resonated with you. Please subscribe here, and if you have any comments to share about your experience of working with the inner child, let me know. With great, great love, I sign off today with greatest love for this journey we take together.